From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Our top story this evening, the Fairbanks North Star Borough Assembly convenes for its first regular meeting of 2015 tomorrow night.
The first ordinance to be introduced and advanced in the new year reestablishes and fine-tunes borough-wide control measures aimed at reducing the area's PM 2.5 air quality problem. The borough was given back control when Proposition 2, the home heating initiative, was defeated in last October's municipal election. The proposed ordinance sets guidelines in 3 major areas, the first of which focuses on an alert warning system for unhealthy air quality during inversions. At its highest level, the tiered system leads to an area-wide burn ban, except for those people for whom burning wood is their only source of heat. There is also a nuisance piece that deals with inappropriate burning and requires the minimum of a 10-acre lot for the use of a hydronic heater. The ordinance sets a fine schedule for a list of 15 potential violations, which Assemblyman John Davies says will be overseen by borough code enforcement staff.
We're not going to be out there cruising the neighborhoods or knocking on doors. It's going to be a complaint-driven program. The first approach is a warning, the second approach is a small fine, and the third approach is a bigger fine, and then the fourth thing is, then if you're still not in compliance, then we issue a court summons.
Fairbanks has been selected as one of 50 nationwide finalists for the $5 million Georgetown University Energy Prize. According to a release issued by organizers of the competition, hundreds of communities applied for the award. The 50 select communities across 26 states developed compelling and detailed plans with secured commitments from local government, electric and natural gas utilities, as well as community organizations. Finalists will be announced in early 2017, with the prize to be awarded in June of that year. Today, local elected and energy officials were on hand to discuss strategies for the next 2 years. The effort has been dubbed the Interior Community Energy Efficiency Project, with the goal of reducing residential and municipal energy use in the borough by at least 12%. Steering Committee Chair Nadine Winters says energy efficiency can stimulate economic development in more ways than earning the $5 million prize.
There's a lot of energy, no pun intended, going towards a long-term energy solution for the community, but energy efficiency is a huge component of that, and you reduce energy, you save money, and it's an economic development issue. People have more money to spend. Studies show that when you reduce your energy costs, that money goes directly into the economy. That's a good thing for the whole community.
The Golden Valley Electric Association is trying to decrease your electricity bill as soon as possible because of lower oil prices. The association has already filed a tariff update with the Regulatory Commission of Alaska. Now, if change is accepted, Interior residents could see a reduction of about 12% to their electric bills starting February 1st. The tariff update is based on GVEA's actual fuel expenses, which the company passes to its customers. Currently, oil makes up just 25% of the association's power generation, with the rest coming from coal, natural gas, hydro, and wind. Public Relations Officer Corinne Bradish says if the Regulatory Commission accepts their proposal, the change would last through the end of May.
Gave them a heads up that we wanted to file this early, and because it is not a normal our normal quarterly filing. They were very supportive and happy that we're willing to do this early and get the savings back to our members. So we're really positive that the RCA will look at our filing, which went in today, and give us an answer by the end of this month so we can put this into effect for February 1.
Recently, the Alaska Industrial Development and Export Authority, or ADA, concluded that they would continue to push for a 200-mile industrial road through the Brooks Range, connecting the Ambler Mining District with the Dalton Highway. Although this was a project that former Governor Sean Parnell endorsed, current Governor Bill Walker is taking a wait-and-see attitude and has cut further funding for the road. Today, an official with the Northern Alaska Environmental Center here in Fairbanks commented on their disagreement with the project, citing a number of reasons.
ADA's submission was all of 4 pages, and from my review of it, it's full of inconsistent numbers, misleading statements, and really takes the position of putting the cart before the horse for Alaska and building a road on the premise of build it and they will come.
All right, when we come back, thieves are targeting cars in the Fred Meyer West parking lot. Police are saying to lock your car.
Also in our military report tonight, there's good news for Vietnam veterans from the Department of Defense. Those stories are next. Stay with us. And welcome back. A Tetland Junction man accused of kidnapping and felony assault was sentenced this afternoon in Fairbanks Superior Court. 45-year-old Tony Titus was given 5 years jail time for the 2013 kidnapping and assault of his girlfriend. Court documents say Titus brutally attacked the woman, tried to strangle her, and made numerous threats during the hours-long incident at his residence. The defense lawyer for Titus said the victim had recanted her statement after the incident and asked the judge to consider this in making his decision. However, Judge Michael McDonald was not lenient, describing Titus as a, quote, worse and habitual offender.
The assault with a knife and the threat to disfigure with a knife is true, and that this is as it appears, because this is as it has been for decades with Mr. Titus. As soon as Mr. Titus is out of custody, he will once again return to alcohol abuse and domestic violence.
The Fairbanks Police Department is warning residents to lock their car doors when shopping at Fred Meyer West. Both police and management at the store say unlocked vehicles in the parking lot have been targeted by thieves over the past several weeks. They say patrons of the store have reported thefts from their vehicles on an almost daily basis. Items stolen include wallets, purses, electronics, cash, and even important documents. Fairbanks Police shared some additional tips for motorists.
The simplest thing is to make sure you lock your doors and don't leave items in immediate view. Also, it appears that the person that's doing this, primarily in the Fred Meyers West area, is watching people as they come and go. So if you go to hide something under a seat, don't do it after you've parked, or they will see you bending over. And then if you leave your car unlocked, it's very easy for them to go in there and look at whatever you are hiding.
Vietnam-era soldiers who received other than honorable discharges because they suffered from post-traumatic stress may be able to get discharge upgrades. Monty Bowen has details in this week's military report.
5 Vietnam War veterans sued the U.S. military, saying they were denied veteran services after receiving other than honorable discharges for actions that resulted from post-traumatic stress disorder. The Department of Defense has issued directives concerning PTSD and recognizing the issue facing Vietnam-era veterans.
The Secretary of Defense gave instruction to the Board for the Correction of Military Records to relax the rules for upgrading discharges for Vietnam veterans who had an administrative separation for minor misconduct.
The head of the State Veterans Advisory Council was in Vietnam and has seen people who had to deal with the issues.
Veteran, 2 tours, was at 173rd Airborne, and so I'm familiar with people that had some difficulties in adjusting to civilian life.
Field said there wasn't an adequate definition of what PTSD was when the conflict ended.
It became about a decade later, and in that process there were people that had less than honorable discharges, or other than honorable, general discharges, who may or may not have been affected by a syndrome that they now recognize as a problem for people coming out of combat.
About 80,000 people could be qualified for the upgraded discharges. That could lead to the award of previously denied benefits, such as disability pay, separation pay, and GI Bill eligibility. Information is available from 3 local veteran service officers.
One at the university with Vietnam Veterans of America. There's one at the Vet Center downtown, Military Order of the Purple Heart, and Disabled American Veterans have another one on Fort Wainwright in the Welcome Center.
This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
All right, Joe Cook is next with sports, including another Ice Dog player to play Division I hockey next year.
All right, find out who, plus a lot more with Joe after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening with your Wednesday sports. The Alaska Nanick Rifle Team is now ranked number 2 in the nation after an impressive Ohio road trip. Monday, they set a new program record, 4,711 points in a win over number 15 Ohio State. A day after setting the new program record, the Nanicks defeated the number 17 Akron Zips by 66 points on Tuesday. Ryan Anderson shot .593 in air rifle and .590 in small bore to lead the Nooks. Tim Cherry and Sagan Magdalena both shot .591s in air, while Mats Eriksson was second in small bore with .583. Lorelei Stanfield, she shot .582. Alaska has won 4 straight matches, and they are 7-1 overall and 2-1 in the Patriot Rifle Conference. They will have a break before their biggest match of the season when they host number 1 West Virginia on January 31st. Another Ice Dog player will be taking their talents to the WCHA. Jacob Hetz has committed to the Ferris State Bulldogs. Hetz, a Pittsburgh, PA native, will be the 4th Ice Dog to commit to the WCHA this year. Hetz is having his best year in his last year of junior hockey for the Ice Dogs, who are 23-11-3 and second in the Midwest Division. The forward is second in the NHL in goals with 21 and leads the league in shots with 131. His 40 points in 37 games this season are the 4th best in the NA and 3rd most on the team. He had 31 points all of last season. He'll look to add to those totals when Fairbanks visits Kenai River this weekend to continue the Raven Alaska Cup Series, which Fairbanks leads 5-1. Here's Hetz on why he chose Ferris State.
What I liked about Ferris the most is like their culture, their history behind everything, and like I've noticed that the rink is kind of like the Dipper and it resembles the Dipper a lot with like fan base wise, like they got a crazy dog pound. So I mean that's one reason. I looked at the campus. I didn't visit, but I got to look at it online. It looked like a really nice campus, so I thought it was a perfect fit for me. It's gonna be nice to see some other guys in different sweaters. I mean, afterwards we can be friends, but when we're on the ice, you know, it'll be a battle out there. So I mean, it'll be nice to see familiar faces when we're playing against each other, though.
And Tuesday afternoon featured a spirited rivalry between the Hutchinson Hawks and Monroe Rams. The two hockey teams faced off in the Big Dipper, and the Rams would strike first on a Dylan Steele goal. Garrett Grayhead would add to that lead. Steele had 2 goals and a helper to lead all skaters in this one, including a nice one to Ryan Michelle coming up. The Rams would lead 3-1 in the 3rd period after that Michelle goal, but Holden McCullough of Hutch scored his 2nd goal with about 5:47 left to make it a 3-2 game, but Steele, he would close it out with an empty netter in the final seconds as the Rams win this one 4-2. Nate Jankowski makes 34 saves for the Rams, and they are 9-1 in the Greatland Conference and 10-3 on the year. Also in Tuesday night hockey, Lathrop wins 8-3 over Delta in a non-conference game. Lathrop's Alex Parker goes crazy with a hat trick and 2 assists. The win stops Lathrop's 4-game losing streak. Now we go to high school hoops at West Valley High School Tuesday night. The Wolfpack hosted the Hutchinson Hawks in the next-door neighbor doubleheader. The Hutch girls got off to a nice start, and they led 8-1. Ashley Stark, she had 8 points in the first half for Hutch. But then West Valley, they flipped the switch and went on a 17-4 run sparked by a Carly Marquez first quarter buzzer beater 3. West Valley led 24-16 at the half. Taylor Hastings, she had 15 points for Hutchinson. She hit a 3 to make it a 24-29 game. But after a timeout, West Valley continued to score. Ruthie Hebart, she had a game-high 30 points. With the University of Washington and Gonzaga watching last night, Marquez added 14 timely points. The West Valley, they improved to 8-0 with a 63-44 win over Hutch, thanks to that huge run.
It was a big confidence booster and a big momentum changer for us that we were down in the first quarter and then we slowly got back up and it changed the game a lot.
It feels pretty good because last year around this time, our first game of the season, we lost to them about this score, and it feels really good to have this redemption.
The West Valley boys, they rolled in the early game. They also utilized a stifling full-court press against the Hutchinson Hawks. They scored on the other end as well. Daniel Hornbuckle, he continues to get buckets. He dropped 28 points while dishing out 12 assists for a double-double to go with 8 rebounds. He found teammate Tyler Chrisman, who drained 3 after 3. Chrisman went 5 for 9 from deep to finish with 17 points. West Valley wins 75-38. They'll be in this week's highly anticipated Joe T tournament at Lathrop High School. And now to other scores that went on for Tuesday night hoops. Eielson, they split with Monroe. The Monroe boys, they won 78-19 on the road. Devon Davis led the Rams with 13 points in the girls' game. Eielson never trailed in a 43-39 win. Bree Kriesel, she had a game-high 14 points for the Ravens. In Delta Junction, the Huskies sweep North Pole. Micah Helkins scored a game-high 20 points and 8 rebounds in a 67-57 win. The girls team, they won their first game of the year, 37-23 over North Pole. Both teams were winless coming in. Nene Powers led the Huskies with 13 points and 10 steals in the win. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Mike Schultz is next with weather, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back into the Fbx Evening News. And we were talking again about a very uneventful day across the interior. In fact, for the most part, just mainly high clouds here and there. As you can see across our photograph today, the photograph is just gorgeous. Look at this thing. It looks like the sky is definitely on fire, but these are clouds. This was taken by Debbie Dean yesterday. And again, if you have a photograph to share, by all means, send it to photos@ktvf11.com. All right, here's what's going on as far as the almanac is concerned. Today's high was 25. That was at 2:20 this morning. And currently 9 degrees after the overnight low last night of 3 degrees. Record high 44 in 2009, and there is your all-time record low, 66 below in 1934. Sunrise and sunset, 5 hours and 8 minutes. And that is a gain of almost 6 minutes from yesterday. Our satellite and radar, as you can see here, we're looking at, for the most part, lots of clouds and moisture moving across, but it all gets stopped at the Alaska Range. And that is going to be the routine for at least the next couple days. There is another storm system moving up, but it's just losing a lot of its power as it moves in. We may just see a few snow showers, and that's it. Across the rest of the state, the rains continue across southeast Alaska. Juneau at 43, Ketchikan at 48, and Kodiak, very cool. I should say Kodiak Island, looking at showers and 43, but 33 at Anchorage with mixed rain and snow there. Up and down the west coast, we're looking at, for the most part, partly cloudy to cloudy skies. And Barrow at 12 degrees below zero with Fort Yukon at 6 below. Lower 48 weather, well, rains are moving back in over the Pacific Northwest, and for good reason. I'll show you that in the satellite and radar in just a little bit. Up and down the west coast, looking at temperatures right around 61 degrees in Las Vegas, 41 at Denver, also 41 at Dallas, Minneapolis at 23. Rain shower activity around the Gulf Coast states, around New Orleans 45, partly cloudy skies in New York. And our satellite and radar, not a whole lot going on over for the remainder of the states, but if you get back to the west coast, you can see here lots of energy moving in with the next storm system. That's going to bring a lot of weather with it. As you can see here, looking at Seattle, heavy rain and winds to 40 to 50 miles an hour tomorrow. The overall jet stream outlook is calling for the cold air to drop down and once again from the north with dry conditions to the south. Well, heading on back to Alaska for tomorrow, partly cloudy at Barrow and Nome, a few snow showers for Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at mostly cloudy skies for Fairbanks, scattered morning rain and snow for Healy, and scattered flurries for Delta Junction. While over the southeast, the rain continues heavy in the Ketchikan area. And over to the southwest, looking at isolated showers for Cold Bay, wind and heavy rain for Kodiak, and freezing rain with snow for Bethel. And if you're heading on down the Anchorage area, looking at rain and snow at Anchorage, freezing rain for Homer, and rain for Valdez. Okay, here's your forecast as far as the kids' weather is concerned. We're looking again at today from Salcha Elementary School, and here's a young man with a question for me.
Hi, my name is Mason. I'm in Mr. Anderson's 5th, 6th grade class at Salcha. Here's my question for the weatherman. How do you know what weather's going to be like?
And again, thanks for that question. There are many times we use the satellite pictures, the computer prognostications. We also use reports from folks across the interior, and of course the lucky quarter. I flip the quarter up, heads it snows, tails it doesn't. Most of the time it works pretty good, so not a bad way of forecasting the weather. And again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our weather. And tomorrow night we'll be here with a teacher talking about water spouts. Your forecast for the remainder of the night, looking at a little warmer with increasing clouds, 11 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast, continue cloudy and mild with light winds, 23 degrees. The extended forecast, temperatures once again pretty mild, and then cooling down in the last part of the period. Overnight lows will also be cooling down, dropping down to 5 degrees below zero, and even 10 degrees below zero in the latter part of the 5-day outlook. But again, no snow in the forecast, and temperatures this time of year, extremely mild, what you would normally expect for January, in the middle of January.
Yes, that is true. I mean, I just can't get over the weather. It's great, so you got to get out there and enjoy it, ski, snowboard, whatever you do.
Yeah, everything's great for outdoor activities.
Yep.
Very good. And
Time
then, of
to
course,
enjoy it.
next month the Yukon Quest starts, so hopefully we can continue it into there.
Boy,
Not too warm for those dogs.
Yeah,
Long range does not show any cold air at all.
Interesting.
I was reading something about that today, that they are hoping for colder weather because they the
Dogs
lack of
overheat.
snow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, lack of snow that's the key word. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, 2 mountain climbers have done the impossible, scaling the face of El Capitan in Yosemite.
Wow.
That's next with Brian Williams.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
All right. From all of us here at the News Center, have a great night.